exciting. It's kind of vanilla, actually. More of an education for you guys on what I do, what our team does, how sales and corporate communications can interface to ensure that we start getting more publicity for what we're doing. So I'm Claudia Johnson. Actually, I've been around also since the beginning. I've been a consultant to Enron since its inception 3.5 years ago. Worked with PGE as a kind of PR marketing consultant to help them write their first business plan, which is now Enron Communications. And I came on probably full-time about mid-June, so we're just getting going. And for those of you who've been around a while, you know that I've been a one-person band for a long time, trying to get everything done that we need to get done. And I'm really excited now that we're building a team. Just hired Chris Caldwell, who you might see around the old office. He's our PR manager and will be helping me in kind of offloading all the day-to-day response that we do to the media and analysts. In fact, that's been my job most of the time, is a response mode. The media has found us out, and we'll get into our strategy with how we're going to deal with all the vertical announcements that we've made. But he's going to help with that. Really delighted here to announce that Linda DeHaan will be coming over full-time to the corporate communications team and working on all of the events and the interface from our team with Marcom on how we can leverage all of our events and speaking opportunities for more press. So we're ready to go after that. Also have an admin coming on, Elaine. She's getting married next week, so she'll be coming on mid-September. And then we had Hill & Knowlton on board as a PR firm for a while, and just wasn't the technology focus that we really need. So we've hired the Weber Group. They're global. They're a McCann Erickson company, and they're awesome. They get it. They get a software. They get the software feel for what we're doing and how aggressive we have to be in PR and to capture publicity. So they're cool. Just got approval also to hire a bandwidth management PR manager. Tom Gross, God bless him, but he eats up a lot of my time. He's kind of got a road show going on all the time. The press has really been intrigued with our bandwidth management, bandwidth trading story. So we're going to get a full-time person to report to me, but to probably be housed at the Houston office to take care of all those needs. And then e-commerce and technology PR manager here in Portland. In fact, we've just started advertising for that. And if anybody knows anybody who would be a pretty awesome technology PR person to help us really get our e-commerce, the platform story told, and start really focusing on the vertical marketing and announcements, that would be great. And then internal PR support, we're going to be working with the Houston office to really do a better job of communicating with over 20,000 employees about what Enron Communications is doing. The corporate communications role, I think sometimes people get confused between what Tracy does and what I do, and we work totally closely together all the time on a communication strategy, but it's my role to really develop and execute the communication strategy as far as the media goes, as far as how we launch our messages to the analysts who will be talking about us, and to really support the advertising through PR. I work with Tracy to develop all the corporate messaging and positioning and our image. I would say that Trace is really working more on the product side of the messaging, and I'm kind of focusing on how do we really claim this eBusiness platform space, but we're all working together on that. I manage all the media and trade analyst relationships, so I'll say it right here. If anybody gets any calls from the media or any analysts, please direct them to me. We've only had a couple little slip-ups at a trade show where people were speaking out of turn, but we're going to manage that. All of the event and speaking opportunities, we work with Marcom to really leverage the media there. So that will be Linda DeHaan's role. Again, internal communications, and generally we're here to support all of the ECI divisions. And I think I'm still getting educated on exactly what the divisions will be doing and how sales will interface with them. But we want a really good working relationship with sales so that we know at the first glance when we get a customer on, who the strategic alliances are that we need to be talking to get really good media support and publicity. Next, please. Thank you. Just to kind of do an overview of where we've been, and we've kind of done a real good stealthy job of announcing who we are in a phased approach. And what we're finding now is that we've pretty well confused the media. And I don't think that's all bad, because what it does is given us time to really bake our platform story. And what I'm calling that is kind of the umbrella positioning story under which all of our vertical announcements will fall, whether it's a new customer, the EIN as an API, whatever it is. But to date, we've really been event-driven. The NAB, brought us to the market and to our publicity with the products, which was great. Our vertical announcements have kind of preceded our overall story, so people kind of know who we are, but there's still a lot of question about whether we're a carrier, whether we're an ASP, exactly who we are and what we do. The bandwidth trading story is really leading the press right now, so we're trying to rein that back until later in September when we're going to announce through a big media tour our whole strategy, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then we've kind of been at the mercy of Enron Corp for how much rein and rope they're going to give us as a new technology company, as a new core business to them. And we've finally gotten their approval to really strike out and develop our own technology beat reporters and that network. But we've been written about by energy reporters. So a DS3 becomes a DS2 overnight on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. That's a problem. So we're finally going to be working with technology beat reporters to get our story told. Our goals are really pretty obvious: to stake a broader vision as an e-business platform. That messaging, I'm working pretty closely with Jim Crowder to really come out with what the messaging will be. But right now I'm calling it an e-business platform, for lack of better terminology. We're going to ensure that all of our vertical announcements from now on map back to the overall vision. So instead of confusing somebody with different piecemeal vertical announcements, we're going to map them back always to what this platform's all about. We want to position this company not as an offshoot of an energy company or a network company, but as a really hot technology company. So we're going to be working a lot with the vertical trades in technology, the internet trades, to better stake that. But we're going to start with the mass media to do that. We're also building relationships with all the technology reporters and analysts in a media tour that we'll be doing in September. Our objectives kind of go through the same thing. As I'm reading this, it's kind of redundant. I apologize for that. We want to reposition ECI away from that carrier niche. We're more of an e-business enabler, but everybody who writes about us is talking about us still as a carrier and that our competition is Quest and Level 3. We don't want to be there anymore. We want to build broad visibility in all of our vertical stories. We really need to get out there with the ePowered business model story, also the channel distribution story. We're ready to do that. We're going to stake our claim first on our media tour and at a few speaking engagements later this month in September. But then we're really going to go after that whole business model that differentiates us. And then leveraging our technology alliances. I just had a conversation with John Hannum, actually from Sun today, and they're really ready to do us right with the announcements that we have never been able to make about us licensing our technology to Sun, about what we're going to be doing together. So we're going to really start striking some new ground with our technology alliances like we've never done before. The next 30 days, we're going to be staking that corporate vision and completing all the platform messaging. We are developing a technology beat reporter and analyst network through both a knock and demo event that we're going to be doing in late September. There are Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Reuters, Bloomberg, stringers out here in Portland and in Seattle. And we're going to include the Seattle Times, Portland Oregonian, and finally get some regional coverage for what we're doing right here in Portland. But that'll also help us really stake out our national relationships that we have here with those publications. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to start pre-briefing all the industry analysts under NDA, non-disclosure, about what our e-commerce platform, or e-business platform message is, to get them kind of up to speed on our whole business model, and so they can be talking to the reporters when they get called. The week of September 20th is when we're going to be heading out to the East Coast. It'll be Joe Herco, actually Ken Lay, Mark Palmer from corporate, myself, and probably Jim Crowder, to start an analyst tour. We're going to be going to Boston to meet with about 10 different analysts to discuss our whole platform. We're going to be going to New York to talk to CNN, CBS, USA Today, Bloomberg, Reuters, Business Week. I mean, all the majors is already set up for that week. And then also, Joe is speaking at the World Economic Development Congress, as is Ken Lay. That'll be in DC on September 23rd. So that week we'll kind of launch our whole messaging strategy on this e-business platform. Joe will then drive the stake in the ground at the Congress to start creating more of the hoopla. And then Ken Lay has agreed to sit down with Joe and the media that we decide that we want in DC on September 23rd and 24th to really start staking that claim. What it'll do for us is really help Enron incorporate our technology company into their core. So, In addition to that, I mean, we always get questions about when are we going to be announcing the Windows product, when are we going to be announcing our channel strategy, et cetera. We're going to do that. But my feeling is we really need to stake that whole vision claim and then come out like fast and furious right after that, almost weekly, with all of our, the media customers, if we have those to announce. The Windows product, Jen, that will happen, I promise. And then the channel strategy and the business model. Those will be kind of one-on-one pitches to targeted 5 or 6 top-tier vertical media. And then again, we're going to be leveraging our alliances with relationships like the Sun licensing of Interagent. The next 100 days, all of this continues. There's a ton of speaking engagements. We've got On the Road with Stan Hanks. Stan is everywhere. And actually, the press love the guy. And we're going to keep doing the network, the optical internetworking, speaking engagements, and start working the trades even more ferociously there. Again, Tom Gross is out speaking about bandwidth trading. Jim Crowder's on the road. Joe Herco's on the road. So we're going to be leveraging those opportunities more. I'm going to be working with Tracy and her team to really help ePower the pop cities. When we know exactly what the timeline is, we'll go in there and pre-brief media and analysts to make sure that we get great coverage the day that we start ePowering events. We're planning an ECI Summit, and that is truly not baked yet. In fact, I'll probably ask for a lot of sales support on that. But what I see is after we've staked our vision and our leadership role here in September, first quarter, having Enron lead a summit on the East Coast with our strategic alliances. I mean, have them co-opt the funding and help co-opt the strategy with us, have keynotes from Sun, Cisco, Real Networks, to help kind of underscore what our platform is all about. Invite ISPs in, channel partners in, start evangelizing software developers to be utilizing our network as an API, and really start staking our leadership with what we're doing. The first bandwidth trade happens December, so that's another huge critical piece of what my team will be working on. One more ahead. Yeah, just the next one. That's okay. And then again, ongoing publicity for all of our vertical announcements, which are huge, not only from our people and what our people are doing, but from what products are rolling out. We're going to be on top of that. And then thinking ahead to Y2K, the summit will happen, Y2K, but I really would love to figure out, I know all of us here would, a live streaming event that we know will work, that would be of huge success, that we can really sink our teeth into and get the media all over, whether it's a Victoria's Secret, Super Bowl, Netaid, something along those lines. I know Country Cool is coming, but my feeling is that we better make sure that works before we go out there and really toot our horn to the media. The API strategy and the developer evangelism, that's going to be a huge piece of our work, is to start talking to the trades and actually sending our people out into speaking engagements where we're going to start evangelizing the EIN and what we can provide. The rollout of the vertical markets, I mean, we're going to be having to do a ton of PR and press with all of the financial industry, medical industry, all the vertical markets that we, as a team, start targeting. And then again, executing the Enron Industry Summit. So that's pretty it. Kind of a vanilla presentation, but any questions for me?
Yeah. With all these analyst conferences and speaking engagements and stuff, it would be great if we knew what the executive was saying. And since we are a multimedia-enabled company, I mean, are these things going to be videotaped? Are they going to be available to us and potentially to clients who would want to see
That's a great idea. Some are videotaped, some aren't. It kind of depends on the event. But we could definitely start doing that. We can, maybe sales could help us target the list of the key events that they'd like to see.
Is that something that you could put like on our website or in extranet that then at a customer site they could go in and media stream and get those clips?
Yeah, definitely.
On the website.
Any presentation that they give is in the presentation database, so you might not be able to hear their delivery, but you guys
I mean like videotape.
Oh, I understand, but I understand another way, if we can't do that they can go in and see the presentation.
But that is definitely something we should do. We should be doing.
There was a higher exposure where somebody was talking, or like if somebody has an interview or something like that.
Right.
That would be really cool to be able to be at a customer site and actually use our technology
Exactly.
to show that interview.
Particularly if the customer is one of these firms that we're arranging interviews with.
Exactly. I like that. Bloomberg.
You still interested in doing the event in LA that you and I talked about?
Yes, you bet. The big question is when,
Probably September.
Okay.
Very close, final.
which means getting a team on that.
Right.
Okay. Matt?
So, I think a criticism that I've heard, and I've heard from some of the people in this room,
I hate
and
that
I've
word.
heard from customers, is that we do a lot, and we're trying to represent ourselves as everything to the marketplace. And I wonder what your thoughts are. How do we control that? And are we going to say everything that we do and market ourselves publicly on everything that we do? Are we focused, or what are your thoughts on
I
that?
think the biggest thing that we need to do is stake what our overall vision is. Our leadership as far as this end-to-end e-business enabling platform. We haven't done that yet. So all of these vertical announcements and trying to be everything to all people doesn't make as much sense as it will when we have that vision down. But then, the trades are vertical. So I still see us talking in vertical approach to all the trade publications, from the internet to the network, vertical market, financial news, that kind of thing. But I see it making far more sense at the end of this month when we've kind of staked our vision.
I'm just curious, is it not confusing to have the e-business as our overall big mission, but then at the same time, we are a carrier and we are selling OC48 pipes? Is that not a contradiction? Or?
That is a contradiction to a degree, and I think that's something to still sort out with at the executive level. Because we aren't really out there wanting to push that we're a fiber optic company or a carrier. And I think that has confused a lot of the network publications. What we want to do is claim that internet space, the enabling, the end-to-end platform that will enable e-business. So that's really going to be more of our focus. Where it makes sense in trade publications, the Windows story, we've got to get out there with. Yeah, AFTS story, sorry.
Only just from a greedy standpoint. I'd like to make my job easier. I'd like to sell more product,
Right.
which means if I can advertise or somehow get people calling me instead of me calling every single
Right.
customer in the world.
And I think to a degree that will happen after we've staked our vision. But right now that isn't something that corporate even wants to go out with at the forefront as far as being this fiber optic carrier company.
Is there a way to align more with like Enron's new strategy of being a global
Yes.
a global networks provider?
Absolutely.
Maybe not align it so much with the ePowered stuff, but align it with this global networking strategy.
I think that's a good idea. And all of that is still baking. We have got a lot of work to do in 3 weeks before this Economic Development Congress to be able to come up with our whole story. And granted, in technology, as most of us know, that may change in 3 months. It changed, 3 months after we announced it, the NAB. But we've got to stake a claim because other people are starting to do that. So, done.
What's the approval process, or now that we are part of corporate, how does that influence our response rates or driving these things forward? Does it detain us a bit more?
It really doesn't. In fact, they have total confidence now, and they basically said, go forward. Let us know what you're doing, but go forward and develop your technology network of reporters. Go ahead and announce to the analysts what you guys are doing. They want to be kept informed. In fact, there's going to be kind of a passing of the baton when Ken Lay and Joe Herco sit down together in front of the media, that not everything's going through Enron corporate, that we get to start making our own decisions about which of the business media we talk to. They've really kept a tight rein on the news weeks, the business weeks, USA Today, and all, but we're getting to do that now. So they'll still have their energy beat reporters that they're working with, but we'll be able to work with on the technology side. And the sooner the better. Anything else? Thank you.